Hi, friends. My name is Bhavya Mangla and welcome you all in this 13th episode of Unfiltered Conversation. You know that it's a series going on with respect to the mindfulness. And the main objective of this particular series is that what is mindfulness we need to understand, why it is important for our life. And it is not something very big, something rocket science, but it is something which is very basic, normal to our life. And that's why we are calling people who are just like the normal people, not very something which we can't touch, which we can't feel, but common people like us, but they are creating something different to their life and to the life of people around them. And today we have a very special guest. His name is Vishal Gupta, and basically he's a IT background. He worked in TCS and Infosys for 7 to 8 years, and then he has a calling to do something different, and then decided, and he made his own foundation called Sochkholo Foundation, and now he's helping the people to enjoy the life to their fullest by doing whatever they are doing it. And along with me in this episode is my colleague Shweta Bhansali. She has done PhD in nanotechnology, a wonderful person. She writes poems, and I think you know more about her when we go further. So let me call on Mike, today's guest, Vishal Gupta. Hi Vishal,
Thank
how are
you.
you?
I'm good, Bhavya. Thank you so much for inviting.
So Vishal, as I was talking about your introduction, that you were in IT field, you worked there for many years, and then you decided to shift towards the field of spirituality, where you're not only helping yourself and enjoying the life, but you're also doing it for the people around you. So why you thought about it, and why you think that that is still a right decision which you took in the year 2017?
So, one thing was very clear at that point that I never enjoyed my work fully. It was more about money and other things involved, right? And there were fears involved. The basic work is about coding, and I could never go into the depth of coding. I was able to manage things. I got two promotions as well. So for the outer world, everything was all right. For the outer
Mhm.
world, I was living a very good life, but I knew very well that I am hollow from inside, right? This was very clear, and certain life situations occurred because of which I got introduced to spirituality, and then um, it became quite clear. Actually, I figured out at an early point that I love teaching or sharing whatever I know.
Mhm,
But
mhm,
what am
mhm.
I going to teach or what am I going to share with the world? I had no clue. But when life took some ups and downs, twists and turns, a point came when it became quite clear that life wants me to go in this direction to share whatever I have learned from my experiences about spirituality and whatever changes have come in my life.
Mhm,
So in
mhm.
2017, I just resigned, and frankly speaking, I had no clue how this work will go out and how it will happen. I had no clue. But
Mhm.
as time passed by, I feel almost by 2020 it became quite clear that what wants to come out from all the experiences that I had, and it started
Mhm.
coming out at some point in time.
But now, as you look back after 7 years, now we're in 2024, do you think that that decision was right, or whatever you are doing is that exactly that was the reason why you left in 2017,
That this is
or?
the most beautiful thing that could have ever happened.
Mhm, mhm, mhm,
There is no doubt about it.
mhm, mhm,
The whole life has changed completely, right? My relationships, my work has changed, relationships, and the way I look life, everything has changed. So there is no doubt that the decision the decision was absolutely brilliant. However, I had no clue at that point in time what is going to happen, right? I had no
yeah.
clue. But if I go back and look at it, for sure it was one of the best decisions of my life.
Mhm, 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 mhm. But many people think that I don't know whether you think in that way or not. That it is like quitting. That you were doing something, and since you could not do it, so that's why you quit. And now you are doing something for which you are comfortable. So sometimes people think it is like a rescue thing, that rather than facing the challenge and doing something, you thought about
Yes,
taking the
that is
easy
what.
route.
So, okay. So, your statement actually uh, makes me think about a statement which is very common in the outside world, which
Yeah,
says never quit, right?
yeah.
Right. Never quit. Now, this is a very shallow statement in itself, because it is
Mhm.
applicable only at some particular places, right? A person must have a clue, must have an understanding about when should a person quit and when not quit. So if you actually have got influenced by the society, and
Yeah.
therefore you have taken up a career where you are not even going deep into the career, but you are just doing it for the sake of money and other things, but you are never getting deeply involved in your work, which is the essence of any work. Deep
Yeah.
involvement, this please keep in mind this word, because I may use it again and again. Deep involvement in the work is the key to any work. So if you are not able to be deeply involved in your work, there is no point doing that work actually. But
Yeah.
since people are afraid or fearful that even if they are able to find something good, something beautiful where they are able to be deeply involved, they never go for it because they are fearful, right? What will happen? Will this work or not? Will I have this much money or not?
Yeah.
Whatever I am earning right now, all these fears actually take you, it occupies your head, and you are not able to take any step. So I feel myself to be lucky enough actually, where
Mhm.
all these fears were definitely there, I cannot deny them, but in spite of these fears, the action happened, because
Mhm.
somewhere inside it was quite clear that I don't want to live superficially. So
Shweta,
for
you are
me, this is
also.
not
Yeah,
a
yeah,
quitting
yeah,
part. For me,
yeah,
this is not a quitting part. This is actually something very much required for everybody. If you find
yeah.
yourself at the wrong place,
Mhm.
you must come out of your fear of not earning or earning less, and go for something which actually you resonate with, which comes deeply, where there is deep involvement from your end. Whether you earn less or more, it really doesn't matter.
True, true, true. Shweta, as I was trying to introduce you at that time, he talked about two very interesting things. That's whatever you are doing it, you have to do it deeply. And often we talk about it that you always say that when you are there, then you are always there. You are not here and there. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts about it? Means and why you think it is important?
So I think Mr. Vishal said a very important statement, Bhavya, that deep involvement. And I believe deep involvement only can happen when you are there, actually, when you are in the moment. If you're not in the moment, you're here and there, it can never happen deeply, because you are not focusing on what you are doing. You're not
Mhm.
enjoying that, what I would say. You should enjoy it completely. And when you are deeply involved in the moment, you are actually enjoying it, then only these two things are happening. So
Mhm.
I believe that. But Bhavya, this brings me because I heard two statements more from Mr. Vishal, that he left his job and then he took this decision of going into spirituality deeply. So I want to understand, when you do this kind of transition, Mr. Vishal, there is always some kind of, I would say, maybe not fear, but a kind of confusion, or like, something that can, like, maybe make you rethink. Was there a moment in during that transition that you also thought of that, okay, do I need to rethink? Because I would really like to know that.
I'm so sorry, Shweta. In between, I could not hear you for a moment. So the last part, can you just repeat so that I understand the question
Sure,
and I'm so sorry.
sure. So your transition happened from your work life to the spiritual life, and you got deeply involved in that. So when there was a moment of transition, sometimes it may happen, I will not call that fear, but confusion to rethink, just for a moment. Did that happen with you? And if it did, what did you thought of that took
So,
you to that transition?
okay. So, frankly speaking, there was never a moment to go back. Never ever. Because I knew that that was that not the right job for me. That was not the right work for me. This was quite clear. However, the moments of confusion were definitely there. I cannot deny that. The moments of confusion were there, and the moments of confusion were more about how to proceed in this direction, right? What is needed to be done and all that. Those moments of confusions were definitely there. I cannot deny that. But the thought of going back was never there.
That was interesting. And what was your support system other than this spiritual energy supporting you? What was your support system at that time? Because you yourself said you didn't know that how will you go ahead, what will you be doing, and everything. That was not sorted. You just had your decision done. I'm quitting this and I'm going for my another purpose I'm here for. So
My wife was the biggest support system, because when I met her for the first time, I was in software industry only, and I told her that for how long I'll be there, I have no clue, because I don't enjoy this work. When we met for the first time, I told her very clearly. So she knew that at some point in time, I'm going to quit this work. She knew. And when this time came, I told her that the time has come to leave this. She was okay. And she never ever bothered me about money part, right? Frankly speaking, the work started happening only after 3 years after leaving the job.
Mhm.
The work really started happening after 3 years. In between, I got some assignment, maybe for 15 days, 20 days, 1 month, a little bit of work here and there, but nothing full fledged. And the work really started happening after 3 years only. So I was not bothered about money, and she never pressurized, the family never pressurized. So my wife was the biggest support system, and I feel my parents never liked it, but they never pressurized. So again, they were a big support system. As far as I feel, they never liked it, but they never pressurized, or they never kept on blaming or saying that why did you take such a step? 3 years have passed, you are not doing anything, or not doing anything means you are not stable. All that never happened. So I would say that was another big support system.
Mhm. But Vishal, I generally see mainly it is for the youngsters, but it is also happening for, say, people who are working for 10, 15, 20, even 30 years, that they may be working, but actually they are not enjoying their job. They are just doing it because they have to do it, because they are getting the money out of it, or maybe because they are not getting a better job, or maybe because still the company has not decided to, throw them off. So they are cribbing and still they are working. So you are fortunate that you could take a decision, but there are
For,
majority of people who
for
cannot
sure.
take decision. What happens to them?
I said fear is the biggest part,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
right? You
mm-hmm.
need to understand that fear. And the fear comes because you are attached to a specific standard of living.
Yeah.
Now, if you say that I earn this much, I have this much, this standard of living, I use car, I use this and that, right? So if I switch the job, I may not be able to use all these comforts, maybe for a long time. Who knows? And so people
Mm-hmm.
are not ready to leave their comfort. They are
Yeah.
deeply attached to their comfort. This is the biggest challenge. And in my case, at least, I was very clear about this, that I had some saving. I knew that if I use these savings in a very nice way, right, this may go on for 2 years, 2.5 years. I can easily survive. It was not a big amount, but
Yeah.
I had to just cut off the extra expenses. I had to just go to the basic form of living. That's all. And this was quite clear. I did it. There was no problem. So this attachment to the comfort, attachment to your living standard, this is the severe problem, because of which people are fearful and they never try something which they really look forward to, or they want to go into that direction. They don't do it.
But Vishal, don't you think this fear is very natural and this attachment is very natural? Say, for example, I may
I
be
don't,
attached to my children, I'm
I
attached to
don't
my
call,
job. Pardon?
I don't call this attachment as natural at all.
Mm-hmm,
Not at
mm-hmm.
all. And this is what real spirituality teaches us, because there are majority people who call this as natural. No, there is nothing natural about it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
This is conditioning. This is actually an acquired behavior.
mm-hmm.
Until we don't understand this acquired behavior, we are going to be a slave of this acquired behavior. So a deeper understanding of this attachment is very much required. So it was, in spite of the fear, it became easy for me, because I was ready to leave the comforts. I was ready to go below that particular standard of living. I had no problem with the same. But people are not ready for the same. They are, and they call their attachments are very natural. So if you call your attachment as natural, you will never go against your attachment. And if you really don't understand why you are so deeply attached, if you don't go into the very depth of the same, why you are so deeply attached, you will never understand life again. Your life will be robotic only.
But Shweta, generally when I look at you, I always find that you seems to be not attached to anything, but still you are attached to many people. So means there is an attachment with detachment. If I'm thinking right about you, or you think differently about it?
Yeah. No, no, Bhavya, you're very right. And what just now Vishal also said was so, so true. Uh, when we are actually, it is conditioning, and also it is something that is being going since generation, that you have to be this way to live a life, to run a life. You need to do this. Okay, this is our low standard living, this is middle standard, this is high standard. All this is done by all of us only. So for me, it is important how we can, for example, we call it sattvic. Somehow I feel like what Vishal is saying is also like vairagya in a way. When we are able to do vairagya from all these materialistic worlds, then we are able to actually enjoy things while doing things. It's not important you have to leave living life only. You can live life, but you can live with detachments as well, because what has to be attached is our knowledge of how our being is, and what we can do to actually grow into that understanding of our soul. So I think, Bhavya, yes, it is important to live with maybe attachment of detachment, what you said it very beautifully, because then you will be able to take any decision. What Vishal did, I don't know it was easy like that or not, but you will be able to, because you're not attached to the conditioning of the life actually.
Mhm, mhm,
So that's what
mhm.
I would like to say. But Bhavya, I would also like to ask here, you only, I would say, because you are living a very calm and peaceful life. I know this much as well. You don't create a havoc of things or something. Yet you live a very calm and peaceful life, and you go into your practices, whatever you do in a day, like spiritual practices, living your life like in the outside world as well, professionally and personally. So, how do you manage? Are you able to manage this detachment in some way?
I think I'm still in the process of doing that. I won't say I did it 100% or maybe 50%. I don't know the percentage. But then, yes, I do understand that everything is temporary. And, someone generally says, this too shall change. So I just try to tell that many times to myself so that I don't feel attached to it. Because I see, my job is to travel a lot and I stay in different hotels. And I see that when I'm leaving a hotel, even after 2 days or 3 days, I start having sort of a connection with that room also. But then I tell myself that one day many people will live like this, the way it is happening. So I think it's more about conditioning yourself, telling yourself more and more about it. But I think it looks easy, but I think there is a process to it. And maybe Vishal can help us that even if a person understands, yes, there are some attachment, there are certain things he is fearful about or she is fearful about, what to do, how to go about it, what can be the possible steps to so that that person can get away with all that.
Okay. So see, it's all about awareness of our thoughts and emotions.
Mhm,
Starts with this.
mhm,
So when you start becoming aware of your thoughts and emotions, that you have certain thoughts, fearful thoughts, you have the attachment thoughts, no, no, I want it this way only. When you start becoming aware of these thoughts, as well as you feel the sensations in the body, how these sensations, the emotions get associated with these thoughts. The more you become aware, the more you actually feel them neutrally, or you just remain an observer of the thoughts. That simply means witnessing your thoughts. Right? This has been said in from ancient time by all sages, saints, and everybody, right? The witnessing part. And till we don't understand what does a witness mean, what does observation mean, a neutral observation of whatever is happening, we will actually never understand life again.
mhm,
So there are temporary ways as well, which are helpful, undoubtedly. but those temporary ways can reshuffle your problem in a different way, which will sprout up in different ways again and again. Right? I am not denying the importance of those temporary methods as well. Sometimes we also use, I also recommend people. So there are many temporary ways which will help you to come out of your emotions, to get back to normal, peaceful state of mind once again in that moment. They do help, but the root problem has never been addressed.
Mm-hmm.
So it begins with understanding your thoughts and emotions, feeling them neutrally, feeling your emotions neutrally, being an observer of your thoughts, where you don't label thoughts as good or bad, you don't judge thoughts, you don't try to resist any thought, you don't try to chase away thought, you don't try to hold on to any thought, but you just let the thought come and go. And with this neutral observation, you actually start understanding yourself at a very deeper level. This is the beginning step. However, this is not the final step. Right? This is one of the ways. And for me, mindfulness, the real mindfulness starts with this only.
Yeah.
However, there is another angle to mindfulness, because I am introducing the word. You have not used the word till now, but I am introducing because the series is on mindfulness. So first level of mindfulness is all about that. People say that when you are drinking a tea, just focus on drinking the tea, right? Be in the moment. So that is first level of mindfulness. That whatever you are doing, you are just focused over there, but that is very limited. That is not going to take you beyond a point, not at all. That is also required. We don't deny that. But let me give you an example so that we can understand more. When you are drinking a tea, now while drinking a tea, you may have sensation in the body. So you may be attached to the tea. So you may be present to the tea, but if you don't know that you are attached to the tea, you have a pleasant sensation while drinking the tea, you actually don't know anything about yourself. So your mindfulness is not complete at all. So first level of mindfulness is just to be aware, just to be with the tea. But the second level is to see what is happening in the body when you are sipping that tea. So to be aware of your thoughts and emotions. Maybe the thoughts are, oh, this tea is very good, I'm liking it. And you start having pleasurable sensations. So you start becoming aware of that. This is the second level, which is the most important. And I call this as the beginning thing, right? Because without this, a person can never understand themselves. There is no possibility. But it doesn't just stick to this point, it goes beyond. Until a person doesn't go beyond the deepest meaning of mindfulness, when if it doesn't come into your life, the life will never change at the root level. So you asked me the ways. One of the ways, very important, and in that way, observation of thoughts and emotions, you can have questioning as well, right? The questioning helps very, very deeply. Why do you do whatever you do? Why do you feel the way you are feeling? Why do you think whatever comes to your mind? These questions are going to help you a lot to decode whatever is happening in your life.
I fully agree, Vishal. In fact, just now one of the viewers said a very interesting thing, that detachment is Sakshi Drishta. But
Absolutely.
it's very difficult and it needs a lot of practice. And
So
if you
frankly
look,
speaking, now let me bust a myth. The more you try to practice to be a Sakshi, the more you will be away from that Sakshi bhav. People don't understand this.
Yeah.
It is not a matter of practice at all.
It happens naturally, I feel like, Vishal. It happens like with the flow of what you are doing, with the flow of the growth. If I may add, if I'm not wrong, I would like to know from you, Vishal. It may happen with the flow of your growth that, yeah, this detachment is happening. You don't even have to try, actually, according to me, from my personal experience.
So this is one of the ways. This can be one of the ways for sure. But when you start practicing to become more and more mindful, you start seeing that when you are mindful, you start enjoying. You feel good. Yes, I am able to. But when you are not being mindful, you are not able to do it, you start feeling bad about it. And the cycle keeps going on where you are trying to be mindful more and more. So this is actually a never ending process till you don't become aware of this, that you have gotten stuck in an infinite loop. And then
But
there is a
Vishal,
possibility. Yes, Boli. Yes, please.
don't you think that we are doing so many multitasking that when we think about this mindfulness or sakshi drishta, actually these are totally opposite things. Like, we may be reading something, we may be having something in our earbud, we are listening to a music, maybe in front of us TV is running, or in between some WhatsApp message, social media is coming. So in a moment, while even having a tea, we are doing actually 5 to 6 different activities, and we feel that this is the way in which we are increasing our efficiency, or we are doing it right, because everyone is doing like that. And in that, when we talk about sakshi drishta and feeling the tea, don't you think
Yes, yes, they are poles apart. They are poles
yeah,
apart
yeah,
for
yeah,
sure. And therefore, when people does all this, when people do all those things, they start getting burnt out,
yeah.
right? And only then there is a possibility, because for majority of the people, this mindfulness, the spirituality, the true spirituality comes into life when you go through hell,
Mm,
when your life gives you so much of misery, pain, you are not able to bear it. At some point in time, a voice comes from inside which says, I need a solution, I cannot live this way anymore. So I'm not saying that this happens with everyone, no, but for majority of the people, when they go through extreme pain and they are not able to escape the pain anymore,
mhm,
then
mhm,
only
mhm.
there is a possibility of really understanding themselves and to actually become mindful.
And these days, a lot we are talking about meditation, and you have also gone through Vipassana. So, and people have many different thoughts with respect to meditation. Earlier, people used to think that meditation is difficult. Now, people are doing meditation, but they say that it does not help because you get a peace for 20 minutes, and after that, the life is same.
You are
So,
absolutely right, because if somebody uses this meditation techniques as a bypass, as an escape, and not really understanding life at the depth, this is just going to help you for 20 minutes only, and after that you are back to your same old life with attachment, with everything that is happening. So till you
mhm,
don't actually become aware of each and every aspect of your life, why do you do whatever you do? From here the real game starts. You will understand that 99% of the things that you are doing are actually being done with hollow reasons, with superficial
mhm.
reasons. And either you will stop doing them, or the reasons for doing the same is going to change. So till a person doesn't start questioning and they are not ready to understand themselves at a very deeper level in their day-to-day life, this 20 minutes or 1 hour meditation is not going to help.
Mhm,
So there have
mhm.
been people who have been practicing meditation for 30 years of life, 25 or 30 years. They have also come to the sessions that I conduct, and I see
Yeah.
that the basic understanding is still not there,
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
because they are not interested in having the real basic understanding which transforms life. So how can somebody help them?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Shweta, you are a scientist, you are also doing research in nanotechnology, and you are doing so many things. I know about it. So, how you manage and how you see meditation in your life?
So, as very beautifully said by Vishal, if you know Bhavya, I'm very curious child. I would say my curiosity never stops and my questioning never stops. That why this is happening, why I'm feeling this. Like even if I'm sitting in meditation, my questions will always arise after meditation. Okay, I felt this. What was this level? I will like to know, like from someone like Vishal who has like more knowledge, experience in every which way, in life wise or professionally or personally. So I would question that thing and I would like to understand that thing. We'll not go into the consciousness and all those part of it. That much time we don't have right now. But when I question that, I see that that curiosity takes me to the answer itself. That
Mhm,
curiosity takes me to it. That okay, this question has arrived. What now? Like what is the answer to it? And I get to the answer because that curiosity arises inside me. It's born and it is always there. So, whenever, and one thing I will definitely say, whenever I do a certain thing, I do a certain thing. I am in that moment. It's okay. I will do the rest of the thing by being in the moment. Like when I write poetry, I would say, Bhavya, when I
yeah.
write poetry, I just suddenly some thought comes into my, like, system, and I just jot it down. Come suddenly. Like, somebody asked me, how do you write this? And I'm like, there's no process to it. It's a kind of a emotion and thought that arises that time, and I feel it deeply. I go deep inside and I just jot it down. And Baba, I have to tell you today, it takes me just hardly 5 minutes or 2 minutes to jot everything down that has come that time. I just
Wonderful.
wrote something on silence when I experienced a silence day recently, and that actually was because of the curiosity, what Vishal just said. A question arose. Why silence? Why
Wonderful.
am I keeping this? And then the poem happened and the
Wonderful.
answers came. So, yeah, that's about it.
Vishal, you have this foundation, Sochkholo Foundation. What is the objective of it and how it is helping the people with respect to it?
See, when the name came into picture, there was no clue what is going to be done with, and the foundation got registered in 2021. That too with the life's flow. I never thought that I a foundation will come into picture. I had no clue. Right now, the objective is very clear that um, there is a sentence that I commonly use. If if there is no complete surrender towards the flow of life, we will live hollow, absolutely in a hollow way. So the objective is very clear that you deeply understand yourself to such an extent that your life changes forever. This is the only objective. So there are two programs that we generally do. Other programs are there, but these are the two, you can say, signature programs or whatever. So the name of the program is Decode Your Highest Potential, Basic and Advanced. Right? And we go through the whole complete understanding of life, about ourselves, about working of mind, about very deeply to understand ourselves in these two programs. This is the objective of the foundation, to understand ourselves very, very deeply.
And just one last question before we close. You don't charge anything, but why? I think you should charge heavily if you are helping the people.
So this work is being done with the life's flow actually. And there is a personal thought which says that this knowledge can't be restricted in the, I mean, this cannot be restricted by money in any way. So therefore there is no obligation. This must reach everybody without any obligation. So if somebody who does have money to give and they get something from the sessions, they want this to reach others without any obligation, they do donate. If somebody doesn't have, they need not think about it because there is no obligation whatsoever. If somebody has an attachment to money and therefore they don't want to give, that's also all right because there is an option available. So
Yeah.
the funda is very simple. That and one more very important part, that my journey started with Vipassana, and I could
Yeah.
sense that how beautiful it is that there is no obligation on your head, that you
Yeah.
have to donate, you have to give something, and the only purpose of those of whatever Vipassana does is to just help you to understand yourself, go into your depth, and change your life. So
Yeah.
and I really loved it. So it was a thought that came from there, the inspiration came from there, and it's working beautifully.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Wonderful, Vishal. Thank you very much, Vishal. I think we had a wonderful session with you. Many things that we could understand from you, especially that once we surrender, only then we can enjoy the life. And the more mindful we are, the better we'll be in that particular situation. And then we'll be living the life to the fullest. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you so very much, Vishal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.